Humble beginnings to global domination, the story of the Sinaloa cartel and its leader, El Chapo, is one of epic proportions. Brace yourself for a journey into the heart of the drug trade and the ruthless world of organized crime. Are you ready to explore the shadowy underworld of the drug trade and the notorious Sinaloa cartel? For years, this criminal organization and its infamous leader, El Chapo, ruled over a vast empire of illicit activity and violence. From daring prison escapes to billion-dollar drug deals, their story is nothing short of incredible. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a gripping tale of power, corruption, and the dark side of the human psyche. This is the story of the Sinaloa cartel and El Chapo. In the late 1970s, a young man named Joaquin Guzman, who would later be known as El Chapo, began his journey towards becoming one of the most notorious drug lords in history. Born in Sinaloa, Mexico, El Chapo grew up in poverty and turned to the drug trade as a means of survival. With a natural talent for business and an understanding of the power of violence and intimidation, El Chapo quickly rose through the ranks of the drug trade. By the 1990s, he had become the head of the Sinaloa cartel, a powerful criminal organization responsible for the trafficking of drugs, such as cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana. One of the key factors that contributed to the success of the Sinaloa cartel was its ability to adapt and innovate. The organization established a sophisticated distribution network that allowed it to smuggle drugs across the US-Mexico border and into other countries around the world. It also diversified its operations to include other forms of illegal activity, such as money laundering, arms trafficking, and human smuggling. However, with power came conflict. The Sinaloa cartel engaged in a brutal war with rival drug cartels, leading to widespread violence and bloodshed. El Chapo himself was known for his ruthlessness, and the cartel used tactics such as beheadings and public executions to intimidate its enemies and maintain control. El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel is notorious for their use of violence and intimidation tactics to maintain their dominance in the drug trade. The cartel is known for their ruthless tactics, which includes public executions, kidnappings, and torture. But why does the Sinaloa cartel resort to such brutal tactics? The answer lies in the nature of the drug trade itself. The drug trade is a highly competitive and lucrative industry, with billions of dollars at stake. As a result, cartels like the Sinaloa cartel are constantly vying for control of territory and distribution routes, and will do whatever it takes to maintain their dominance. One of the most infamous examples of the Sinaloa cartel's brutality is the massacre that took place in the Mexican state of Sinaloa in 2011. In this incident, members of the cartel brutally murdered 35 people, including women and children. The massacre was a warning to rival cartels and a display of the Sinaloa cartel's power and willingness to use extreme violence to maintain control. The Sinaloa cartel is also known for their use of intimidation tactics against law enforcement officials and government officials. This includes threatening or bribing officials, as well as carrying out targeted attacks against those who oppose them. For example, in 2014, the cartel assassinated the mayor of a small town in Mexico who had refused to cooperate with their criminal activities. The Sinaloa cartel's use of violence and intimidation is a reflection of the intense competition and high stakes of the drug trade. The cartel will stop at nothing to maintain their dominance and protect their profits, even if it means resorting to the most brutal tactics imaginable. El Chapo's escapes from prison are the stuff of legend. In 2001, he famously escaped from a maximum security prison by hiding in a laundry cart. He remained on the run for more than a decade until he was captured in 2014. But that wasn't the end of his escape attempts. In 2015, El Chapo escaped from prison again, this time through a mile-long tunnel that had been dug underneath his cell. The tunnel was equipped with lighting, ventilation, and a motorcycle on rails that was used to transport him to freedom. The escape was a major embarrassment for the Mexican government, and it raised questions about how such an elaborate operation could be carried out without detection. Despite his repeated escapes from prison, El Chapo's luck eventually ran out. In 2016, he was captured again and extradited to the United States, where he was tried and convicted on a range of charges related to drug trafficking and organized crime. He is now serving a life sentence in a high-security prison in Colorado. But the question remains, how did El Chapo manage to escape from prison not once, but twice? And what does his repeated success say about the Mexican justice system and the fight against organized crime? El Chapo's reign of terror came to an end in 2016 when he was finally captured and extradited to the United States to face trial. But what led to his downfall, and how did the authorities finally manage to bring him to justice? And what impact did his arrest have on the Sinaloa cartel and the wider drug trade? El Chapo's legacy and the impact of the Sinaloa cartel can still be felt today, even after his capture and imprisonment. One of the most notable aspects of his legacy